Time now for the business news. Reactions this evening to the government's decision to revise the tax measures on sugary drinks. Stakeholders in the business community are welcoming the changes to a tiered policy. Deirdre Thomas reports.
The changes follow consultations with manufacturers, the tax authority, and the Ministry of Health, resulting in a shift from a flat tax to a tiered structure. Chairman of Wisynco Group, William Mafood, describes the revision as favorable, but maintains the tax is still excessive and unfairly targets a specific industry and class of products.
But it is much more fair and balanced from the point of view of applying lower tax measures to low sugar products. So therefore giving manufacturers opportunity to reformulate to allow for cheaper products to consumers.
He argues that under the previous structure, manufacturers would have paid the same tax on high and low sugar products.
The new rates as proposed definitely address some of the concerns, because originally what was proposed was a flat tax rate across all products, which included high sugar, low sugar, and zero sugar with artificial sweeteners. What that did was not make it beneficial to manufacturers to reformulate, and therefore you would get the same amount of tax regardless of the sugar content.
However, Mr. Mafood added that the timing of this new measure is unfortunate. He points to rise in oil prices driven by war in the Middle East and significant inflationary pressures.
From a local manufacturing standpoint, the combination of those energy increase costs, labor increase costs, the taxes, and also the increase in environmental levy, I think it's going to have a significant burden on consumers in the short term.
Meanwhile, economist Keenan Faulkner has also weighed in, describing the government adjustment as a positive step.
It was good that the minister was responsive to the concerns of stakeholders on this front, and with respect to the environmental levy, it may primarily just be a revenue-raising device, since funds are not specifically earmarked for environmental protection, although the government makes provisions otherwise for this purpose.
But he's raising concerns about the lingering uncertainty surrounding the collection mechanism for the proposed digital services tax.
I'm not sure that the minister sufficiently addressed the mechanism behind the collection of the digital services tax, although we got greater clarity around the services being taxed, whether they are digitally ordered or delivered. It may be that the government will engage the banks, the card service providers, and the vendors to decide the means of remitting revenue to the government. Overall, however, I believe that the minister's presentation was clinical in responding to the points raised by the opposition.
The special consumption tax will now take effect on May 1 instead of April 1 as previously stated. According to Finance Minister Favour Williams, the new timeline will now give manufacturers and importers more time to prepare for its implementation. Deirdre Thomas, TVJ News.
Jamaica's trade deficit widened during the first 11 months of 2025 as spending on imports increased while export earnings declined. Data released by the Statistical Institute of Jamaica Statin show that total imports reached $6.8 billion between January and November 2025. Now, this represents a 2.2% increase over the same period in 2024, driven mainly by higher spending on raw materials and consumer goods. At the same time, export earnings fell to $1.5 billion, an 11% decline compared with the previous year. The drop in exports was largely due to a 14.6% fall in crude materials. The figures highlight a growing imbalance in Jamaica's trade performance over the review period. Petrol prices will be increased again effective tomorrow. This is the fifth straight week of increases. Each litre of 87 gasoline will be increased by $4.50, and 90 gasoline will also be increased by $4.50. Automotive diesel will see $4.50 being added to its price, while ultra-low sulfur diesel will also be increased by $4.50. Kerosene will see its price increased by $4.50. The cost of propane and butane will go up by $3.06. The GSE index advanced by 1,967 points today, while the junior market index declined by less than a point. The winners were ISP Finance Services, Tropical Battery Company, Sagicor Select Funds, Mayberry Jamaican Equities, and Access Financial Services. The losers include CAC 2000 Limited, Epley Caribbean Property Fund, JFP Limited, Proven Group, and Cygnus Credit Investments USD Ordinary Shares. 18 stocks traded firm. And foreign exchange trading ended with banks and Cambio selling the US dollar for an average $158.62. The Canadian dollar is being sold for $115.19. The pound is going for $213.25, while the euro is selling for an average $184.60. And we take another quick break. When we come back, news from overseas.